All right.
Yes.
So, everyone, my name is Ian, and I'm the functional consultant of Tectura Taiwan. All right. So today we are going to talk about GUI, also known as Government Uniform Invoice function. So, for this function demonstration, it would be separated into two parts. So, firstly, we will just explain why we have to use this function and what could be done in Business Central to increase the efficiency when filing information to government platform. So secondly, we probably just move to the next slide. So we will go to the Business Central to demonstrate how this daily processing gonna work. And then we will probably have some time for Q&A after this. So let's get started. So for the basic concept, why this function? So due to the government regulation, so the companies must file business tax each period. So normally one period would be 2 months. So like you can see, business tax is composed of input tax and output tax. So also, if the company are using E-invoice, you would also have to upload related information to the government platform timely. So for what Business Central can do, you can see on this slide, essentially just covered by the ice cream color background. So the things that is covered by this ice cream color background is what we can do in Business Central, essentially. So for the daily processing, basically we will just purchase from the vendor, right? And we also sell to the customer. So when buying item from the domestic vendor, you can see that GUI number will be provided with purchase invoices and purchase allowances. So we will put invoice information in Business Central. So by doing so, we can calculate the input tax. When selling item to the customer, so we will provide sales invoices and sales allowances, right? So this is a bit different with the purchase processing, because in sales processing, we provide a GUI number by ourselves. So normally we can have like a duplicate invoice or triplicate invoice based on your transaction type. If you are a business to customer type, that'll be duplicate invoice. Business to business, that'll be triplicate invoice. Or you can use the E-invoice. So we will we will record the invoice information into the Business Central in order to calculate the output tax. So for the input and output tax, Business Central will be able to generate a text file. So you can see here is a text file. So we call it media list. And we can upload the e-text. We can upload this media list to e-text platform for the filing purpose instead of filing manually. So it actually saves time. So the other thing that we have to generate is e-invoice information. So there will be a make file generated. So it's a kind of a XML type of a document. We call it make file. So if we create sales e-invoice with GUI number, sales invoice with GUI number. So no matter it's B2B, B2C or B2B, we must file it to the e-invoice platform within the regulated time. So we will create a make file in Business Central, and we probably would just cover and transfer through the turnkey or a third-party e-invoice platform to upload to the government e-invoice platform. So this is pretty much for the concept. And then we'll just directly move to the next slide. So for this part, we're gonna just go directly into the Business Central system and demonstrate how it's gonna work. So we will demonstrate the pretty simple purchase invoice and allowance processing, and then sales invoice allowance processing, tax filing processing, E-invoice filing processing, respectively. Okay. So let's move to the system. All right. Okay. So can you guys see my screen now? I'm in the Business Central page.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is we will demonstrate the purchase processing. So we just simply go to the purchase order. So we just navigate to the purchase order page. Just click new here to add a new purchase order, right? So we enter vendor number here. And the vendor information will be brought out to the header. And we probably have to change the posting date to current date. All right, so we just change this date to a current date. And then we have to tell the system what we're gonna buy for this purchase order, right? So we just go to the line, and let's say we have maybe we have a blue desk. We're going to buy a blue desk. So we must enter the quantity as well. So let's say 10 pieces of the blue desk. And we scroll to the right, we can see the unit price here is $500. So we just have to make sure that $5,000 for this purchase order, and that'll be 5% of the tax. So that'll be $250 of the tax. So total will be $5,250. And then we will probably just post this purchase order. So it's quite convenient in Business Central that we can just navigate to home, post, and post. So we can do it like receive an invoice at the same time. But if we have to click and select this option, we probably have to enter the GUI number in advance. So we will have to enter our vendor GUI number, a GUI number provided by vendor. So we have to comply with the government regulation, right? So it's like a two English letters plus 8-digit number. It has to be comply with the regulation in order to post. So that's a we have a and with 8-digit number, right? So I just enter the GUI number that is provided by vendor. So it's PO 09220001. And then we could click home, post, and we will do the receive and invoice at the same time. So basically we can just do it separately. It's totally fine, but we have to save time here for the presentation. So we just do it in one time. So click OK. Then the process PO GUI after posting information will pop up, and we just click yes. And this generate the purchase invoice. So after it's finished, then we can just move to the AP GUI match page. So for this page, what we have to do is we have to make sure that in the header will be the information of purchase GUI number, and the line detail would be the purchase invoice information. So if we confirm that this GUI number is fully matched with this purchase invoice information, then we just click apply. But if you have to, combine multiple detail into one GUI number, then we don't do apply here. We probably wait for all the information is updated, then we click apply. But for this case, we will just click apply here. So after I click apply, where can I find this record? I can just go to the home page and we click the Taiwan GUI and AP GUI because it's an account payable transaction, right? And list, we can find it in AP GUI list. So for this one, PO 09220001 is what we just created previously, right? So you can find it here. So what happened if the allowance is happen? We will have to create a purchase credit memo for this transaction, right? So we're gonna demonstrate how to create a purchase allowance, which is related to this specific GUI number. So we will just go to the purchase credit memo, and we just simply click new. Okay, and then we will enter the vendor number here, and we just have to go to prepare and get posted document lines to reverse. So we will just try to bring out our previous purchase invoice to do the credit memo, right? So I just try to find our previous purchase invoice, which is 108238, and we will just click OK. And it will just automatically bring out my information here. So let's say we just have to, partially do the credit memo. So I will just change the quantity to six pieces. And one thing we have to do is we have to enter the vendor credit memo number, which is mandatory for the purchase credit memo. So we could just say that credit, and probably just let the system know which GUI number that we are going to do the credit memo. So let's say, all right. So after I finish it, and I could just go to the home and try to post this credit memo. Yes. All right. So after I post this credit memo, I still have to do one step, which is I should navigate back to our AP GUI, and we could find that, in the AP GUI list, we could see that we only have one record for our previous purchase invoice, right? We didn't see that our credit memo apply on this record. So what we're gonna do is we have to, apply a credit memo with this specific GUI number. So we have to go to the AP GUI list, and AP GUI list not applied. From here, we click new, and we have to bring out the specific GUI number, which is PO 09220001, right? And click OK. So after you click OK, you can see that the GUI document type here is allowance, which means that this one is for the purchase credit memo. And we have to click the vendor ledger entry. We click here and we try to find our credit information. So this one. And we click apply. So after we click apply, we can figure it out that this information has automatically brought out to this specific GUI number. So like we just done, we have to click apply if we confirm that this is what we want. So we just apply, and we navigate back to the AP GUI list. And now we can see that there are two records here. Two records that I marked. One is for GUI and one is for allowance. So it's pretty much the purchase processing. So then we will move to the sales processing. So it's quite similar to the purchase processing. So just go to sales order. So try to create a sales order, and we just click new. And we have to enter customer name here. All right, so the customer information just automatically brought up. And we also have to tell system that what we're gonna sell for this sales order, right? So we sell blue desk as well. And then we have to enter the quantity. So let's say 10. And we also have to make sure that there is a unit price for sales. That'll be $800. And also we can check the taxes including into this purchase, including sales order. All right. So after we successfully create the sales order, we will have to do the ship and invoice processing, right? So as usual, it can be done in the same time in Business Central. So we click post and post. So for this page, like I say, we can choose to ship an invoice at the same time, or we can just do the shipment and we go to sales invoice to create invoice. It's totally fine, depending on what our process be. But for this case, I will just ship an invoice at the same time. If I choose invoice, I can also choose if this transaction need to use the Taiwan GUI function. So definitely I will enable this option. And you can see that if you are using E-invoice or you're not using E-invoice. Okay, so in this case, we will all using E-invoice because we have to demonstrate that we have to upload E-invoice information to the E-invoice platform of the government. So we enable use E-invoice option. And then we have to select the GUI date. So let's just go to the current date. And then we have to choose that we are that this transaction is a business to business or business to customer type of the transaction. So let's say it's a business to business transaction. And then we will just simply click post, and the GUI number will automatically generate it. So it's quite different with purchase processing, because for the purchase, the GUI number is provided by the vendor, right? So we just have to enter whatever on the vendor purchase invoice. But for the sales, we generate GUI number by ourselves. So we let the system to generate. So we click post. So it's working on it. And then a GUI generated information would also pop up. So it say that BQ000011 is generated. All right, so click OK. And we can also like print out the sales invoice here. So let's print it out. Okay, just preview. And here's the format of the B2B GUI invoice. All right. So how can we find our posted sales invoices with GUI number? We could just simply navigate to Taiwan GUI, and this time we will just go for the account receivable GUI, right? So list and AR GUI list. So we can find that the BQ with the 11 is here. Okay, so if customer has the return order which means that we have to provide the allowance for our customer, right? So what can we do in Business Central? We just go to the sales credit memo. And then we just add a sales credit memo with customer number. And we will also go to prepared and get posted document line to reverse. So we will just find the previous sales invoice to have the credit memo to apply it with, right? So let's click OK. And then we can also like partially credit the sales invoice, right? So maybe let's say 6. Okay. So after we finish all the information on the sales credit memo, we also go to home, post, and just post it. Yes. Yep. So we will navigate to the posted credit memo page. So in this page, we have to combine the item, to combine the sales credit memo line with specific GUI number to tell the system that which GUI number that this credit memo is applied with, right? So we choose this item line and we go to line input based GUI. So we tell the system that this transaction is related to the GUI number that we generate previously. So we choose this one and we click OK. And we return. Then we just have to generate the allowance. So you click generate allowance. We make sure that we are on the current date. And we have to choose the allowance type, which means that this transaction is initiated by the buyer. Okay, so we click generate sales allowance. So once I click generate sales allowance, this transaction will be related to the previous sales invoice GUI number that I generate. So then we just move back to our AR GUI list, and we can find that there are 2 records here. So one is GUI and one is allowance, and both are related to this specific GUI number. So it's pretty much like purchase processing. All right. So we're back to our slide. We now have input text and output text, right? So how can Business Central create the text file to send it to the platform of the government? So what we're gonna do here is we try to collect the input text and output text information and to create a text file. So let's navigate back to the system. We will go to the Taiwan GUI and function list, and we go to the GUI media list. So in this page, I just simply choose my declaration site and which period I'm going to declare. Okay, so I just click generate here. Yes. And here we could find all the transaction that is within this declaration period. So we can actually find the GUI number that we generate in this demonstration, right? The BQ001, and they got like 2 transactions here because one is for GUI, and one is for the GUI allowance, right? And also for the purchase, we can also find that our purchase PO 092201 is also here. So we could just like send all the transaction and convert them to a media list, to a text file. So what we're gonna do is just click the export. So the information of the text file exported pop up. So I can just find this text information, and we see that all the transactions here, and we can just use this list, use this text file for the filing text purpose, and send it to the eText platform. So that's pretty simple. All right. So the next thing we have to generate is the makefile, right? Makefile. Because we have E-invoice, we are using E-invoice, and to comply with government policy, we have to send the invoice information to the E-invoice platform within the regulated time. So let's move back to the system. So we could just go to the Taiwan GUI and function list. Here's a GUI make log B2B certification. Just navigate to here. And we could see that in this page, we have two records here. So these two are created by us previously, right? So we could see that the job status is waiting. And other transactions are also are all marked with success, which means that they already sent to the government platform. So we what we have to do is to send these two records to the E-invoice platform. So we just simply click the enable, and we could find that for the next MIG active button, these two records are selected. So and we just simply go to the function archive and make direct creator. So once I click this button, you will see that these two job status will become success. So I click it. So do you want to make directly? Yes. So you can see that it becomes success. So we can also open the downloaded file. You can see that there are two documents. So it's kind of like one by one. Yep, yeah, one by one. So we can use this document, just use this document and convert and transfer it to a turnkey or third-party E-invoice platform, and they will help us to upload the E-invoice information to the E-invoice platform of the government. So that's pretty much for the demonstration of the TWGUI localization function in Business Central. So if you got any question, feel free to ask.
I have a question.
Yep.
Because